What kind of food? What kind of food? What kind of fool do you think I am? You think you can go on seeing him? Darling, after we had made our plans, you said I'd be your number one man.
Peace and welcome once again to that great show entitled My Guess Ain't Guessin. As you know, this is the show in which my guests don't be shucking. They be all up in here. Show nothing. Today, my guest is a good friend of mine, an associate, and a media buddy. His name is John Alexander. John, welcome to My Guess Ain't Guessin.
Thank you for having me today, Leon. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure, and you have about two hats that you wear, or two titles, but primarily we're going to focus in today on photographer.
Okay.
Okay?
You want to talk about photography? My photography?
Your photography, and we'll can talk a little bit about photography in general, since I consider you an expert.
Okay. Well, I am the head photographer of the Rainbow Push organization. And currently when Reverend Jackson's in Chicago at Rainbow Push, I'm his personal photographer when he's here. That's been a real good pleasure to do that, because I never expected myself to ever be with somebody like a Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Someone of that stature.
That statue, that is, that's an honor and a pleasure. It's more of an honor for me to be his photographer or be the Rainbow Push's photographer than anything else. You know, I take photography in a lot of different places, but to say that you shoot with Reverend Jackson, or you shoot for Reverend Jackson, or you shoot for the Rainbow Push organization, it's kind of a big thing, because if you know what goes on at the Rainbow Push organization, it's quite a bit, Leon. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So much stuff going on over there. It's ridiculous. And I get a chance to meet some of the greatest celebrities in the world. Right. Kings from other countries, presidents, you know, from other countries, superstars. I did miss Shaka Khan when she was here, because I was in Oklahoma working. But I get a chance to meet all them different kind of people. Okay,
so being the photographer for Rainbow Push speaks volumes about your skills and ability.
Yeah, it does, because I got a chance to meet Waka Flocka. I'm like, okay, I didn't know who he was, but
who is that?
He's a well-known rapper, and I don't even want to say the other guy's name, because I might mess that up, so I'm not going to even say his name. Okay. But he's also very famous as well. But along with shooting people like Judge Mathis, football players, basketball players, baseball players, soccer players. I had one time to do this young lady by the name of Nia Northfleet. She's an Indy car racer, and she's black.
Right. Yeah.
So I had an opportunity time to shoot her. I'm like, wow, man. And then sometimes the Shylights will show up, you know, a couple of people from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Yeah. Jeremy Cummings, which is now a minister and a pastor of a church. I had a chance to interview and talk with him, doing photography stuff, people like Joan Colasso, Darius Brooks, Fred Hammond, How Sweet the Sound. The list goes on and on and on and on. And when you do people like How Sweet the Sound, you get people shoot like Fred Hammond, Donald Lawrence. Wow, I can't even think of all these names. It's just so many at one time.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
In any way, are you awed or mystified by the celebrities and stars and people of importance that you shoot, or is it just a job?
There's two answers to that.
Okay.
At the beginning, I was extremely excited just to shoot Reverend Jackson.
Okay.
But after a while, it became, you know, they just regular people. Mm-hmm. When Shantae Moore came, I had already been with her through another venue that I was with. And so I got a chance to know her a little bit. Erica from Love and Hip Hop, I was the second photographer with somebody else. I got a chance to see her. So it become like you get numb with it after a while, because you get to, they be regular people. They just regular people, regular fun-loving people that you like to have fun with. And Shantae Moore was like one of the sweetest ladies you can ever want to meet. And pretty, and gorgeous. But she's one of the greatest singers I have ever heard in my entire life.
I don't think she gets enough credit for being a great singer.
She is phenomenal. She is outstanding. And not only is she just pretty, her personality is actually very gorgeous. And when you talk about like Judge Mathis, you know, we see him on the court, you know, judge thing. But I got a chance to sit down and talk with him. One-on-one, laugh with him, take photos for him, you know. And it's normal now. It ain't abnormal, it's normal. It's real easy to do it. I don't even think about it. Matter of fact, I take charge quite a bit when I'm with these cats. So that's kind of fun too. Reverend Jackson, stand over here. Judge Mathis, get right here. Okay, y'all need to sit down. I need y'all to look at me. Don't look at nobody else. And so I have taken that kind of role with Reverend Jackson and the people that's around him that he brings in from out of town to take photos with.
Okay, but yet and still, you haven't answered the question.
What's that?
How did you get to be
his photographer?
His photographer. How did you get into that position?
Well, to make us, I'm gonna try to see if I can sum it up real quick. I was first doing the HBCU tours, which was traveling across the country with young people, doing filming and shooting the young people going to different historically black colleges.
Right.
So one day we came back in 2010. I was sitting in the audience. I didn't have my camera with me at the time, and Reverend Jackson said, "We're gonna go out here and take some photos." And I wasn't a photographer then, and there was no photographer. So we was walking outside, and I happened to walk outside with him. And I said, "Reverend Jackson, that'll never happen to you again." And it didn't. And I've been there ever since.
So you just stepped up to the plate.
Well, if somebody gonna pitch you a ball and you know you can hit it, you might as well hit it. You're used to just letting the ball go into the strike zone and don't hit it because you know you can hit it. You don't hit, you look at it and say, "Dick, I should have swung." I didn't want the shoulda, woulda, coulda. I took my opportunity, it was there, and I made it happen. Oh, and I had to learn a lot while I was there too, because there was a lot of things I didn't know. How to position myself, how to always be in front of him, how to walk in front of him, how to take control of the crowd when he's around. So we did things like this weekend at Rainbow Push, which is probably air later. We have the football classic that's coming up.
Right.
So the football teams will be in Chicago and they'll be at Rainbow Push. Of course, you're talking about 400 to 500 people per band. So I have to take control of all those because he got to take photos with each one, not each one of the band members, but the band at whole.
All right,
and so
band.
Right, and so when you got there, you got other photographers that want to take photos. So you have to actually be an authoritative figure and make everybody kind of sit back, set the shot up, take your shot, and then let everybody take theirs. So, and going back to answering your question, that's how it became. It became that way when I decided that I was going to be the photographer. Actually, I spoke it into an existence. I said, I'm going to be his photographer one day. And I don't know how that happened. It happened, and I was there. I swung the bat and hit a home run, and that's where I'm at now.
Okay. And how long have you been the photographer?
Since 2010.
Since 2010. That's about 3 years.
4 now.
4, going on 4 years.
Right, going on 4 now.
Okay, great.
And since I've been there, I probably took over 500,000 photos since I've been there. And that's an honor, because when I go back and look at my photos from everything that I've done with Rainbow Push, I'm amazed at the people that I did photos for. And people who've been photographers for 15, 20 years, 30 years, has not shot that many celebrities like I have. And I couldn't have shot all those celebrities if I wasn't with Reverend Jackson. I mean, from shooting Billy Williams, Ernie Banks.
Okay.
Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, and Gail Sayers in one room. To watch Reverend Jackson, to be on Wrigley Field's ground, to watch Reverend Jackson throw off the pitch for the 42 this year. That's amazing, man. I mean, it wasn't that many black, there was only 2 black photographers there. It was me and another guy. We was the only 2 black photographers. Everybody else was white. And I asked myself this question, where are everybody at? Where is everybody? And so I'm just glad that I got that great opportunity to do that.
You know, John, personally, I've known you for a number of years.
Right.
And I'm quite proud of you, proud to be associated with you. I've always found you to be highly professional.
Oh, thank you.
Very studious and in-depth professional.
Well-dressed?
Well-dressed also. Oh,
okay. Thank you.
Very much so well-dressed, a dapper dresser.
I try to be.
And so I feel that it's more so your destiny to become in a position such as you are as the photographer for Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, and I think that's been quite a compliment and a feat. But not only just Reverend Jackson, I have done Hispanic in Philanthropy, African Americans in Philanthropy, which is a different type of organizations. And you don't get that unless you align yourself up the correct way and do things the best that you can do it from yourself. You got to search within your heart and say, these are the things that I want to do. How do I become better than I am for today? I can't be better than the next man. I got to be better than me for today. You have to
challenge yourself.
So all the time I'm always challenging and looking and reading, because I didn't go to school for photography. I had 3 guys that taught me what they taught me. One day
they taught you what they knew. And
you're right, Dave Wilkins from out of Milwaukee, Worsom Robinson, and another guy by the name of Lewis Bird. And
Bird.
And Bob Black.
Okay.
And these are the guys who were working with me because I joined this organization called CAPS, Chicago Alliance of African American Photographers. I think it's something like that.
Okay.
And it's an organization with a bunch of photographers, and these are some of the greatest photographers in the world. Pulitzer Prize winners. These guys can shoot all day long, and they are one of this organization, one of the greatest photography organizations that I have ever been in. And so from there, saying that you're going to be better and then doing it. I started off with a D100 camera, which is an old camera. I migrated to a D300 camera. And then I got sick with my cancer, lost my apartment, got myself back on track, got me a D300S, 2 of them. And then from there, I went to a D4 and a D3, which are very, very expensive cameras. But it's only because I wanted to have them and I know I needed them, and I got them.
Okay. What made you or inspired you to pick up a camera or get into photography in the first place?
Now, the strange thing about that is that I was doing video first, as you know.
Yeah.
And so I started seeing them that they were paying photographers more than they were paying video people. I was saying, well, hold on, let me switch.
I heard that.
So let me switch and let me see if I can make some of them.
Wise decision.
And it panned out to be the best decision I have ever made. Even though I have not given up on video, I haven't gave up on my editing, I haven't gave up on any of my creative styles, that video has become, photography has become my heart. And once you do that, it becomes your love, you know.
Yes, and once it becomes your love,
yeah,
as they say, do what you love and the money will come.
Right, and you know what, in saying that too is, I didn't shoot for money first.
Right.
I started shooting photography to learn, because I knew I wasn't good enough at the beginning to demand what I could demand like I can now. And so without studying to show myself to be the person that I can be, I would not be where I am if I wouldn't have actually gave and did a lot of free work in learning and analyzing the mistakes. Could I have done this better? Could I did this better? I should have shot like this. Okay, now I understand my ISO. I understand my f-stop. I understand my shutter speed. Oh, I got to understand now. I got a white balance in different rooms, understanding what light is. And that's how photography became part of me, because I started understanding what you need, knowing what kind of lens I should have, not the lens that I got. And knowing the lens that I got was not great enough for me to be who I can become. I got the lens that made me become what I am today.
Okay. I like the way you put that. It became a part of you. It became second nature for you.
It's actually first nature.
First nature
is life, but mechanically that is my first. That's my love. That's what I like doing. I keep cameras with me all the time. I can tell you this one thing. I was shooting somebody's birthday party, and my car got broken into, and all my camera equipment got stolen except for the camera I had with me. I went back in there and continued shooting the job without letting them know that my car was broken into.
Wow, that's love.
And it hurt.
Yeah, I know.
But I know that God will supply your needs, and all of a sudden here come everything else that I got. Because what if I went back in there and started whining about my car being broken into and not finishing my job? I was paid to do a job, so I did that first. I had a camera, I had lens, I had a flash, so I did everything I was supposed to do. Now, at the end of the night, was I upset? Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
I was upset. I was really upset.
Quite sure you were.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't see the guys that took the camera out the car. But you know, I realized what I did wrong, Leon.
What did you do?
I had my keys, right? And you know these new car keys right here, everybody.
Yeah.
I pressed this button in my pocket, and I opened up my own trunk.
Oh wow, that's terrible.
So I just gave the thing away, really, in reality. Because you know what I kept saying? I need to get me some new equipment.
Okay.
So out with the old and in with the new.
New, yeah.
But I didn't know I was
sometimes
I didn't know I was the one that was giving up.
Yeah,
don't know.
It just happens, you know.
You don't know you're doing it. And that was, I kept saying, I got to get me some new cameras. I had a D200, and I wanted faster and better cameras because now I'm shooting NBA games.
You
And
spoke it into existence.
Yep.
I thought it into existence.
yeah, somebody else got blessed.
Yeah.
And then I got blessed over again. And so it's one man lost, another man gained.
Right. So have you completely or pushed your videographing as a videographer aside, or it plays a very lesser role in your life now? How does it stand with that?
What video is going to always be a part, because here again with my cameras, two of them do video.
Okay.
So if I'm out, for example, with Reverend Jackson, I'm shooting something, and we don't have our video crew there, I can get the spot stuff, the 2 minute, the 3 minute stuff that we need for Rainbow Push, and I can still shoot photography at the same exact time.
Right.
So it still plays a role, more role now because I have it on a DSL camera now. So I can be shooting photos, click the video, get the statement that he's saying, boom, go back to shooting photos again. And for some strange reason, that's what's going on right now with the Sun Time and everybody else. So I was doing it because that was necessary for me to do. I didn't know that was going to be a part of what is becoming today, which is people like the Sun Time, when they got rid of their photographers and they started using iPhones as way as reporting and shooting the news.
Okay. You are also co-host of the Media Connection.
Yeah, sometime I
Occasional co-host. Okay.
Occasional calls. When me and Naima is out doing certain work, like for instance, we shoot the Chicago Sky game, so sometimes it's best for me to do the interviews with the coaches because I know basketball. Or if we're doing House with the Sound, and I know the gospel singers, so I go in front of the camera and do certain things. But typically, if it's studio stuff, I typically don't do that unless it's absolutely necessary. But if it's out in the field and we're doing gospel and we're doing sports, then I do it.
Okay.
And I don't really like to do it.
You don't like being in front of the camera?
No, I have a lot of fun when I do it because I'm crazy.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it at all.
You do it because it's necessary and part of the...
Well, I do it because I don't want Naima to look like a nut trying to do it herself and she don't know nobody.
Right, okay.
So, and it's good. And you know what, and to look at things doing the NBA, the WNBA, the Chicago Sky basketball team, that was phenomenal to just be in there with them from beginning to them making it to the playoff and seeing all that manifest all at one time, and you out there and they get used to seeing you. Now you become like part of the family with these guys because they see you all the time. And so I've learned.
They know you by name.
They know me by name. You know, I get access to a lot of different things. One day we was in there with Reverend Jackson. You ain't supposed to go in the girls' locker room before they get dressed, but of course with him we went in the girls' locker room. So privileges. You get a lot of different privileges for being known in the place.
Okay.
So we get a chance to speak to the coach a whole lot. We get a chance to go in the dressing room. We get a chance to talk to Della Don, Fowles, Murphy, Swim Cash, all those people. And it's just like being at this point like the old Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Them girls are really, 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 really good ball players. So that's another thing I can add to my list, that I shot the NBA, the WNBA. So when I reach my age of 60, I can now teach, but I have my own work that show the children, this is what I've done. And I take that work sometime, Leon, and I meet young guys and I have it on my phone. I show them the shot I did with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and them, and they be real excited and they be wondering like, man, how do I do? I said, well, then they open the door for me talking about going to school, getting into college and all that kind of stuff. So I have a door opener that allows me to be able to talk to young men about the skill set that I get. And I got a habit of always talking to somebody, helping somebody with their camera.
That's John Alexander.
Yeah, because I just shot the Great Midwest Football Championship game, which was Saturday at Hells Francisco Football League. Well, I did the video and I did the photography, where I kind of directed the whole thing. And it was a lot of fun, Leon, to sit up there, to go on the field and shoot that all over again.
I bet it was.
And giving this commissioner this opportunity to see what it looked like if he had pro people doing his work versus him putting the camera and doing it himself. And so a lot of times that helps, that you have that total expertise to do the things that you need to do. You had that total expertise to understand all your f-stops, your shutter speeds, your lights, and lighting out there, and interviews and microphones and cameras and white balance and all that. It helped. It helped me a whole lot. I learned it basically starting here in KNTV. And then I took it to another television station in Evanston when I was further north. And now I'm affiliated with both. And I just think that, like meeting you, I met you here. So this is like great place.
We met at Aces Business Network Fair, and
I don't remember. I thought I met you here.
We met at Aces and
Been buddies ever since.
been buddies ever since. I was at Can TV then.
Yeah, I had been interviewed on CAN TV when I was doing mortgages, but you know, I never looked at it as me being.
When you were doing mortgages?
Yeah,
Oh, that was
a long time ago.
that was another life.
That was about 15, 20 years ago when I used to do mortgages.
Okay.
And I was a kingpin in reverse mortgages.
Okay, I remember you now doing that.
Yeah, I used to love doing reverse mortgages, and you know, I didn't like getting in front of this camera, man. Like now, you know, this is not me. This is not something I like doing. But you know, you
do it for
and people
buddies.
like Grady, y'all make it so easy to sit here and do this. So
Right.
So you get used to doing it. You know,
Yeah.
Rob Harris, you know, all y'all, Allen, all you guys make it real easy to be sitting in this chair to talk about what you're doing with your life.
And speaking of what you're doing with your life, normally I start out my interviews with my guests telling a little bit about their background. Share a little bit about your background in terms of number of children you have, and
Man, you want me to go there?
I want you to go there.
Well, ladies,
Look-
how y'all doing? I have 7. 7. I'm very, very proud of having 7 children. I have 4 grandchildren.
And you're a doting papa as well as grandpa.
Yeah, I'm a grandpa. I got 3 daughters and 4 sons, and let me see what I got. 2 granddaughters and 2 grandsons.
Okay.
And I'm real, real proud of that. That keeps me so young, Leon, it's ridiculous. You know, my youngest son is 17, my oldest son is 33.
Okay.
So I feel real good about that.
When you're not doing photography and the video thing, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Sleep. Sleep. But reality, no, for real, what I do, I go to the music store, me and my partner, me and a couple of old friends of mine from Cabrini Green, and we go in there and we just.
Are you from Cabrini Green?
No, I'm from the west side, but I used to go to Cabrini Green.
Okay.
Because our band was in Cabrini Green.
I grew up in Cabrini Green.
My band was in 714.
714, okay.
Yeah. And so.
Oh, you're a musician also.
Right, I've been playing bass for like 38 years
Okay,
now.
we'll get into that also.
Okay, so I like to play my bass sometime. I like to sing love songs on my bass guitar. You know, it's a pastime. I like playing piano. I like playing drums.
So you're just multi-talented.
Well, the gift that God gives you is the gift that God gives you. Can't no man take it away. So even if you don't use it, it's still always there. And so I've been playing bass for a long time, and that's kind of my relaxation of doing what I'm doing, and so that's what I like doing.
I recall you played bass for some very well-known celebrities and people. Could you say a couple of them, a few?
I mean, when we was 14, we opened up for Harold Melvin and Blue Notes. We opened up for the Temptations. We opened up for the Dramatics. We opened up for Earth, Wind, and Fire. We opened up for a lot of groups when we was young.
This is you and your band?
Yeah, when we was little.
What was
and
their
in my
name?
gospel group, I did around Fred Hammond, the Winans Commission, Take 6, Inez Andrews, Shirley Caesar, the 5 Golden Wings. It's just a lot of groups. It's too many to really name. So I done played with so many folks in my lifetime. And I thank God for giving that. The Edward Singers, which was another gospel group locally here, but that was the group that really set me down and made me really what I was as a bass player.
Polished you up, huh?
Yeah, Benny Edwards was a cruel bass player. He was a finger man, I was a thumping man, so I had to learn how to finger because I was thumping. Because learning stuff from Larry Graham, Louis Johnson, John Patitucci, Bill Dickens, all those great bass players that I learned things from, just made me phenomenal in playing the bass. I'm not as great as they are. I didn't do the solo act, but I taught a lot of other people how to become great on their bass guitar. Okay. So
you notice you're very good at instructing and teaching. Can you talk about that for a second?
Well, instructions came from knowing what not to do.
Okay.
Instructions also came from the military. Being in the Army.
You're a military man.
Yeah, being in the Army, learning how to follow orders. And you know, when you do the duffel bag drag and you run with your nose on another man's bag when you first come in, and you understand how to be a friend of a person you don't know, to depend on that person. And so from there, I took that with me everywhere I went, because that was very important to learn how to be friends with people. So getting into sales and learning things from Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, and all those different places, selling insurance. So, they always kept you real polished, doing stuff like Craftmatic adjustable beds, Encyclopedia Britannica.
You've done sales in all these areas?
Yes.
Okay.
So you had to become a leader, and mortgages is where I became a big leader at, and being a tax person, helping people with their offering compromise of their problem with the IRS. I used to work on that with folks as well. So being leader, you can't be a great leader unless you can be a great follower. And as you know, Rob Paris is our big brother, and you my big brother. I'm the little brother for a change. All our birthdays on the 18th, and we all kind of
the 18 Club.
Right. So you learn
June
how
18th,
to be.
Yours is
August
18th, and mine is December 18th.
Right. So you learn how to be up under people. Like, even Grady has given me instructions when we went the first time we went to do the airport, and Alcus Cromartie, people like that, learning to bow down to people who are older than you and give them the respect and honor that they deserve, because they deserve that.
And many people find it hard giving others respect where respect is due.
It is not as hard as just doing it.
Yeah.
And so as I began to get older and my hair got grayer and got grayer, at first I wanted to darken it black. But when people start saying, "Excuse me, sir," "Thank you, sir," "No, sir," "Yes, sir," "I'm sorry, sir," I'm saying, wow, I really do like that. So let me keep this and do it right, and be somebody's best friend, and talk to people that you don't know, and give advice to people who don't know I give advice. Work on that HBCU tour was another thing, because you have to lead them young boys to not do the wrong thing, like chasing girls, and understand that grade point average is more important than having sex. Learning that you can be more than you can become if you don't do the things that you can do. I once gave them this scenario about if you had $1 million and you had a baby, how much of that $1 million would actually be yours? And after we calculated, not too much of it was theirs. So we talked about things like that, taking math and giving them understanding to what math actually means, telling about the rule of 72 and all those different things. So being 56 and studying, and I think one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible says, "Study to show thyself approved, work but not be ashamed, rightly divide the word of truth." It's one of my favorite statements, because that's where I've learned to try to be more honest, even when I was dishonest for my own self for a little while. So
you played a very important major role with the HBCU?
yes.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
Me and Naima did that for 3 years.
Okay.
And we did that for 3 years, filming the HBCU tour, catching prolific speakers, real good speakers like the President Morehouse, who will be here in Chicago very soon, meeting different presidents and meeting coaches and meeting this and meeting that, people who are just strong leaders, and you getting that video, you getting that knowledge, and it's soaking in. The first time I've been to I think Frederick Douglass' grave at Tuskegee University, the Kellogg's place, learning about all those different things that our forefathers walked on, not just Martin Luther King, people before him. And so people look at Martin Luther King, but they got to look at what was before him as well. Going to the Smith Robinson Center in Mississippi.
Did you participate in the commemorative 50th anniversary of March on Washington? You did not. Okay.
I did not, because I was not asked to do it. I wanted to do it, but I didn't do it because I think really I didn't have enough knowledge on it. And the only thing I would have did it for was to win and take photos.
Okay.
And everybody that they took photos of, I already have them, already done it.
Okay.
So it's not like
that makes sense.
It's not real new to me, but I've done all those photos before, from the president on down. So it's not really something that I would have got a whole lot out of. I understood what was going on, but it was best for me to be at home and explain that to my 17 and 19-year-old son.
Okay.
Being the dad for them and letting them know what was going on and why we're doing what we're doing and why is this happening, why is that happening. So when they look at dad, they can look at dad and say, wow, my dad was there. My dad did this, my dad did that. And he talked to me about Martin Luther King. He talked to me about Reverend Jackson. I can say that now. Most people don't have the chance to say that. They know of Martin Luther King and they know of Reverend Jackson, but I could say I was right there with him. I was even his driver for a little while, Leon.
You done a lot with him.
Yeah, I was his driver.
Okay.
I drove him up to where the Sikhs, that happened a year ago in August, where those 6 Sikhs got shot. I was there. I was with the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, Secret Service, and treated like royalty because I was with Reverend Jackson.
Well, I feel like I've got a celebrity with me on stage now.
I don't consider myself a celebrity. I consider myself just a normal person because This could have been somebody else. It just
Well,
happened to be
I
me.
mean, I've always admired you, and I hold you in high esteem.
Well, I mean,
Certainly, I do.
I think that I would have taken this photography as far as I've taken it. I wouldn't have believed that I would have been the only guy for Nancy Pelosi or King of Africa, and you got exclusivity to nobody else can't shoot these shots but you. You know, so, going into his back office and hear all the mayors, and I also did that with Rahm Emanuel, all the mayors. But I'm saying you go into Reverend Jackson's office and here's all the mayors, here's all the ministers, here's all the everything, here's all the, the superstars, the basketball stars, the singers, the actors,
Right.
I even got a chance to do Michael B. Jordan, the guy who played the lead role in Fruitville Station.
Okay.
And the young lady that was in the movie with him, I got, shots with him. I was the only photographer for the screening. I wasn't the only photographer for the show, but I was the only photographer for the screening. And just because, again, I'm Reverend Jackson's photographer. And I think anybody who can latch themselves on to something that would make them be what they're not. And I owe my credit really to one newspaper, if it's okay to say the newspaper.
Go ahead.
The name of the newspaper is Windy City Word on the west side of Chicago. Mary Denson
I
gave me
know
the
that.
opportunity. And I'm going to tell you how I got the job. She was taking photos with her iPhone. And I called and said, your photos look raggedy. I'm a photographer. I need a newspaper. You need a photographer. Let's get together.
And the marriage began.
And the marriage began.
Okay.
And I stayed there for 2 years with her.
Okay.
Until I got busy with Push, of course.
Okay.
So I'm saying for those out there in the audience who decided that they really want to do this work, you find something that you can latch on to, somebody you can help, somebody you can be a part of that can give you something back. Not let somebody use you for what you got, but let somebody help you for what you got, and make sure you know what you got and don't get stuck in being with just this person because they who they are. So I don't look at everybody as to who they are. I look at every person as a person.
Okay. We've only got a couple of minutes left in the show.
Okay.
The way that I end each show is I let my guests look into that camera and give some words of wisdom to the viewing audience. You just gave some words of wisdom.
I
You
got
can give
some
some more. I know you're just a storehouse of wisdom and knowledge.
Which
So,
camera?
That's your camera right there.
Right here?
Give a minute and a half or 2 minutes of wisdom.
Okay. If I had a chance to say something to the young people today, and hopefully you guys are listening, what I would say to young people is first, obey your parents, or obey someone that can keep you in line and make sure that you find someone that you can latch on to keep you in line. That'll be number one for me, because growing up without a father or a mother can be very, very difficult. I thank God for me having a godfather by the name of Reverend Robinson who kept me in line all these years. And he was only 9 years older than me, and I still called him dad. Try not to be in places that you shouldn't be. If you tell your parents you're going one place, go to that place. Don't go to another place and be someplace else. Always be accounted for, because when you ain't accounted for, you'll be accounted to something else that's not something you would have done. Look to get your education to the highest degree you can get it. Look to get your, find the work ethics that you need to put forward. Go to school on time, leave school on time, study your extracurricular activities, be a help to someone else. And young men and young women, don't worry about sex right now. That'll happen. Don't do it too early, because you don't need no kids at the age of 16. It's hard. I have 7. I started when I was probably 23, I think, because I'm 56.
Okay.
So you need to have a foundation, a boundary of the things that you need to do in life, and set your goals high enough for you to reach them, not so high that you can't reach them. And if you can't reach them, find somebody you can hold on to. Find older cats like me, older cats like you, Grady's and the Allens and the people who do things in the Keith McDonald's. You might not know who none of those folks are, but these are very, 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 very good men who work very, very hard and strong, and they'll lead you in the right direction because they're not trying to go in the wrong direction. And if you don't have a father, find a man that can be your father, because it's a lot of us don't mind being fathers to people who don't have fathers. I'm one. I got probably 256 godchildren, and out of that many, probably 90% of my young men that I still mentor today, and they call themselves my kids. I can't call them nothing else. I can't call them step, can't call them godchildren, I can't call them nothing. You might hear it on the TV right now, but these guys, these children are my children. And that's what you have to do. You have to be, as a man, stand up and be accounted for. And when we can reach one, we can touch one, they can touch one, they can touch one, and we continue to grow and be strong with our young folks.
Thank you, Mr. John Alexander, my bosom buddy, pal, friend,
Thank you, Mr. Leon.
and comrade.
I'm going to get you, Grady.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of the show. Don't forget to call the number 708-208-1239. And I usually end the show with a golden nugget of information. And tonight, I'd just like to say, give you a point to ponder. Suppose they gave a war and no one showed up. Think about that. I'm your host, Leon Loving. Thank you for tuning in to My Guess Ain't Guessin. Thank you to the great crew that works with me, Alan, Grady, and Bill. Thank you so much. And thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. That's our show. Thank you.
What kind of food